What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. We are going to go over 3 of my favorite player props today, as well as some money lines. So we have a small NBA slate today, just a 4-game slate. Hopefully, we can have us a good day. I am going to pick a winner for free VIP in this video as well, so make sure you guys stick around for that. On the screen right now, you do see a Pistons win. I know it looks kind of funny when you see the Pistons, when they started out last night, minus 200, and you see us right here, 500 to win 1,000. You might be, hey, how did you get that? Well, let's talk about these live bets because I posted it for Novig. Ace ran it on Sleeper. But I got them right last night at plus 107. And I'm going to give you my reasoning behind this. So they were down 9 points when I locked this slip in last night, a live bet. The Pistons were 0 for 15 from the three-point line in the second quarter. And they were only down, when I tried to lock it in, they were down 7. And they ended up giving up a basket right before I locked it in. But they were still like plus 111 at one point whenever I tried to lock them. So I was getting very good value for a team that was 0 for 15 from the three-point line. That's not going to keep up. I told the Discord that. I was like, I don't think that they continue to shoot this horribly. And the fact that they're not getting blown out right now shows me that this Magic team is struggling. So I ended up running in Detroit last night for plus money, and we locked them in, and they did cash. So if you're in the Discord, you did get that. I do want to say, guys, the Discord's free. I'd love to have you guys in there. Link to the Discord is down in the description if you want to join. If you guys want to get every single one of my plays, you know that's through the WAP. It is there as well. But let's go ahead and talk about these games. Let's talk about some player props because we do have a very small slate today. Got the Rockets and the Wizards in an ugly game. Celtics and the Bucks in a game that I think is going to be competitive. Nuggets Jazz is an ugly game. And then Clippers Warriors is showing pretty close to a spread right now at a 1.5 point spread. So maybe that game does stay good. But let's go ahead and go through these player props. I'm going to give you guys, like I said, 3 of my favorite props as well as a square that I think is going to be, I'm not going to say a free. It's gambling. Nothing is ever free. So make sure you guys are betting what you're willing to lose. But it is a play that I think I'm very confident that it cashes. But anyways, let's jump into the first pick of the day. So the first pick of the day that I'm going to be playing is going to be for Kevin Porter. I know Porter sold us hard yesterday. They're playing against Boston tonight, and they're at home. Now, Porter's assist line right now is 6.5. You can get a boosted play right now on parlay play at 5.5, which I really like. I think the value on this is very good. And let's take a look at what this value should be at if you go to Outlines. So at 5.5, if you look at this across other books, you're looking at minus 200 for this play to cash. So very good value right here on parlay play at 1.5x, which I'm willing to take. He's cashed just 8 of his last 10 games, and he cashed 16 of his last 20. Now, you are more than welcome to play this on whatever platform you want. You can play him at 6.5. I don't think 6.5 assists is a bad bet. I really don't. I know we had 4 last night. They're on a back-to-back. It's a tough game versus the Celtics. The Celtics have been a dominant team as of lately, and they do have a pretty decent assist defense. If you look at them versus the guard position, to point guards, they give up a lot of assists. To shooting guards, not quite as many, around 6 assists per game. So I do expect Kevin Porter to have a decent game tonight. I expect him to bounce back from last night. If you look at both the Giannis brothers are questionable today. So if Giannis plays, obviously that does lead to a lot more assist opportunities for our man Kevin Porter because Porter's been one of their lead scorers. Obviously they have him. Ryan Rollins has been stepping it up since Giannis has been out. They have some others. I'm not dissing on anybody else. But I do think that Giannis being back is going to help this assist line a lot if he plays. And there's a potential that he plays tonight. So hopefully he does. That does help this. Even if Giannis sits, obviously there's more usage for Porter, which also leads to assists. So either way, whether Giannis is playing or not, I like this play, man. He's getting double-digit assists in a lot of these games. Head-to-head, he has 2, well, this game's not from the season. He only has 1 game this season versus the Celtics. Dude had 13 assists. Lit him up, man. So I'm expecting something. I'm not going to say 13 assists, but I'm expecting 7 assists tonight. I think he gets that number. So if you want to play 6.5, you can. I do like this line a lot at 5.5, though, which is one reason I will be locking this in on Parlay Play. I do want to say, if you want to sign up for Parlay Play, you do get a free month of our VIP. Links down in the description. You can do that with any of the apps that are in the description. Just let me know if you sign up for any of those using our code, and I'll give you a full free month as of right now. So just let me know, like I said. But Kevin Porter right now, boosted play. I'm going to be locking him in if you want to lock him in there. And you, like I said, once again, whichever sports book you want to play. I saw somebody complaining about Prize Picks yesterday in the comments. Prize Picks does not have the best value all the time. Sometimes they have good value. Prize Picks is not terrible in terms of value. They're terrible in terms of the customer support and the way that they kind of set up things, because they will set you up for failure and they will try to screw you in any way they can. And I've been on the wrong end of that several times. I've watched them ESPN score wrong players in college and me miss a slip. I'll watch a player make a shot and it gets scored wrong. Or I'll watch a player catch a pass and get 50 receiving yards, and they'll give it to the wrong player, and my parlay chalks because of that. So I've been on the wrong end of that before. Prize Picks seems to be the only app that I've had issues with that in the past. So yes, they have their problems, but sometimes they're good, man. I'm not going to say they're always bad, and that's why I still continue to use them sometimes. But on Parlay Play, another great app if you want to try them out. So is Chalkboard, so is Sleeper. They all have their own different type of boosts and stuff they give. And I'd recommend, if you're new to sports betting and if you're somebody who doesn't have a huge bankroll, to take advantage of apps that give you that. Because when you can get those free squares and you can take advantage of that and you can put a little bit more on them, if your unit size is $10, but they give you a free square that's up to a $20 max, I say max out on spots like that. That's the only time I would recommend a small bankroll to up their unit size. But anyways, don't know why I started rambling. Hopefully that maybe helped somebody. If it didn't, I apologize for rambling. But Kevin Porter, 5.5 assists, pick number 1. Now, this play is who I was planning on playing with Kevin Porter. And it's going to be our man, Kyle Filipowski. So I'm looking at Filipowski here, and this isn't a play that's going to be sweat-free by any means. Playing versus the Nuggets, the Jazz are just missing so many players. So I'm looking at Filipowski's points and rebounds. When you look at this Nuggets team to centers, they give up a lot of points, give up middle-of-the-pack rebounds. You can come down here and look at the defense from Pelicans versus the offense for the Jazz, and you can take a look at 2 points made, 14th in the league versus 17th in the league. You can take a look at the three-point line, 23rd in the league for three-pointers. But you look at how many shots Filipowski's been taking. He's been shooting a couple of shots per game minimum from the three-point line. He had 5 his last game versus the Pelicans. So we can expect a couple of three-pointers potentially. I'm not saying three-pointers is what I want to see from Filipowski, but I do see a lot of points in the paint coming from this what am I trying to say, man? This Jazz team. I keep wanting to call them the Kings for some reason. But from this Jazz team, you can see 5th in the league in terms of points in the paint, 52 points per game. You can see middle of the pack in terms of where Nuggets give up points in the paint per game. So looking at a lot of potential offensive rebounds from a man, or offensive or defensive rebounds for Filipowski. Offensive rebounds obviously going to lead to a lot of potential buckets. When you look at the assists, he doesn't average a ton of assists per game on the season, right at 2. He does have some outlier games where he's getting 5 and 6 assists, really just depending. But they don't have a whole lot they're going off of either right now. They're missing Jaren Jackson Jr., which is new to this team. Walker Kessler's obviously out. Kevin Love is out. Lauri Markkanen's out this game. Nurkic is out. Vince Williams. I mean, a lot of players missing from this Jazz team. They do have Keontae George playing tonight, which is, as of right now, is great for the team in terms of Filipowski. I'm looking at him, and I'm looking at Keontae George when it turns to who I like in this game. And I don't expect a massive blowout because the Nuggets are on a back-to-back, and they did struggle yesterday. So they got beat by Minnesota in Denver. Now they're traveling to Utah to play against the Jazz. The Jazz are a team that's tanking. Do I think the Jazz completely crush this or anything? No, I don't. But points and rebounds, take a look at it one more time. Let me find that. See here, PR 21.5. I'm going to lock him in at 19.5, so I'm going to go ahead and change this, and I'm going to play it with that boost to give us a little bit over a 2x. But if you look at his last 10 games, look at minutes played, around 29 minutes his last game, 24-ish minutes over his last 10 on average. He does have some outlier games where he's only getting 8 to 10 minutes, and then he has some games where he's getting over 30. So minutes is definitely a big issue for Filipowski. He's not somebody who consistently gets big minutes over his last 20. I wish this injury news wasn't there so I could scroll up a little bit quicker. But you can see, averaging 23 minutes per game. Some games getting 30. So if he's having a good game, they're going to keep him in. But they don't have a lot to go off of either. So anyways, I do like Filipowski here. I'm going to take a chance on him head-to-head versus the Nuggets. He's cashed 1 of his last 4. He only has 1 game from this season where he had 7 points, or 5 points and 2 rebounds, but his minutes were 12.7 minutes. So that was one of those outlier games where he literally played no minutes, and they had a blowout loss. So you couldn't expect much from him. The game before that, when he played 34 minutes, he completely soared over this number with 13 rebounds and 18 points. So I'm expecting him a decent game. I don't think he's going to have some phenomenal 40 PRA game or anything, but I think he gives us 20, and I'm willing to take a chance on him. So we're going to lock in Filipowski over here with our man Kevin Porter for assists. This is going to be a 19.5 points and rebounds, puts us at a 2.15x. What if we do this? It's a 1.8x. Now, I'm just going to take the points and rebounds. I don't like the assist line for that payout. So we're going to lock this in, 250 to win, 537. Hit continue. And that is going to be 2 picks for today. And I'm about to lock in 1 more slip for you guys. So third pick on the slate that I like is going to be for our man Kada. So I'm taking I'm taking Kada. I know some people might not like this. I do think that he has a good game tonight. I do think Jaylen Brown has another good game. So if you want to like Brown instead, I don't think that's dumb. I think Brown for 39.5 PRA is definitely a possibility. Now, when we're looking at this, let's click Brown real quick. I think Brown potentially has a regression game. He is on a back-to-back. They are playing against Milwaukee. Against Milwaukee, he struggled to go over his irregular line at 40.5 in the past. He does get very close. He had 45, the only game this season where they beat him by 30. I expect Milwaukee to keep this game kind of close. I don't think this is going to be a blowout, like I said, which is one reason I like Kevin Porter. But anyway, let's go back to Kada. I do like Kada for 18.5 PRA. Now, if you look at his last 10 games, and last 10, obviously, the hit rate's not very good, 40%. He's averaging 21.1 PRA still. He had an outlier game his last game. He had 46 PRA last night versus Philly. Had 17 rebounds, 27 points. Head-to-head data versus Milwaukee. They played 2 games this season. He's been over in both games. 26 PRA the first game, 19 or the second game, 19 PRA the first game. So been playing good versus this team. He's been stepping it up, been getting decent minutes. He played 27 minutes last night. If you look at him over his last 20 games, he's averaging right at 25 minutes per game. So if he's having a bad game, obviously his minutes are going to be down. If he's having a decent game, he's going to play big minutes, and I'm expecting a decent game from him tonight. So I like Kada at 18.5 PRA. If you want to lock him in, you can. We can take a look at the matchup here. You can take a look at this Celtics offense versus this Milwaukee defense. So taking a look at some other stats on this game, you can look at the rebounds that allow. So offensive rebounds from the Celtics, they get 6th in the league in terms of offensive rebounds. So they get a lot of offensive rebounds, whereas Milwaukee doesn't get very many defensive rebounds, around middle of the pack. Now, I know Giannis has been out most of the season, so this number is probably going to be deflated a little bit, but I do like the matchup here in terms of offensive rebounds for Kada. So if you look at Kada again, Kada is not a guy who gets a ton of assists. He averages 1.5 assists on the season. Obviously, some of these games, if he has massive minutes, he's going to get more assists. He has some outliers where he's getting 4 and 5 assists. 6 is his peak on the season. But for the most part, he gets 1 to 2 assists per game. So if he gets an offensive board, there's a chance we have putbacks here. There's a lot of opportunities here in this game for that as well, which is another reason I like Kada. One other thing that goes against Kada is when you look at points in the paint. So the Celtics are not a team that scores often in the paint versus a team that doesn't give up many points in the paint. So the defense for Milwaukee looks really good right here versus a team that doesn't take many shots from there. So that obviously is going to be a negative for this pick. But I do like Kada tonight. 18.5 points, rebounds, and assists for a regular line. I'm going to take a chance on him. I'm trying to mix up these props a little bit. He's not a guy that I bet on consistently, but there's not a whole lot to choose from in this slate either. So if you just want to fade it, I don't blame you. And I'm not going to obviously be offended or anything if you don't like to play and you just play. You can play the opposite of it if you want. It's totally up to you. But I'm going to take a chance on him at 19 PRA today. And we're going to pair him with a square that I think should be free. It's going to be Kawhi Leonard for 20 points. Now, you lock these in, you got almost a double up. Right out of 2x, 250 wins us 480. I'm going to go ahead and lock this in. But Kawhi for 20 points really isn't anything that I expect him not to give. Now, he has been dealing with questionable has been questionable a few games. Played last night. Last night he put up 23 points versus the Pelicans. They ended up beating the Pelicans by 20 at home. They are traveling to Golden State. Now, the Warriors are missing so much this game that I don't trust this Warriors team at all. So I'm thinking the Clippers come back here and get a win on a back-to-back. I'm really thinking the Clippers win tonight. They do have John Collins questionable. They do have Chris Dunn, who is questionable. But Kawhi is not even on the injury list. Last night he played 29.4 minutes, with his last game before that being on the 22nd. But give me the Clippers. Give me the Clippers to win. Give me Kawhi for 20 points. 20 points is really a very low number. He's cashed it 100% of his last 20 games, averaging 27 points, 93% hit rate on the season. Head-to-head, he's been over about every game. It's a back-to-back. It is what it is. Give me Kawhi for 20. I think he cashes that easy. It's minus 500 odds if you were to straight bet it, which you can't do. So we got that locked in for our player props today. Hopefully we do green out. That would be nice. Now let's go ahead and jump into some money lines. Let's lock in Novid because this slate's tough, man. I'm not going to lie. We got 4 games, and every game on this slate is pretty much a potential blowout. So you got Rockets versus Wizards, 15.5 point spread. Bucks Celtics is a 7.5 point spread. Nuggets Jazz is an 11.5. The only close game we have is going to be the Clippers here at minus 118 with a 1.5 spread. So that's where we're going to start. Let's start with there. So we're on Novig. Code Ace is on Novig if you want to try it out. We're going to hit claim the 25% parlay boost, which we've been locking in every day. We've hit one of the last 3. So today I'm hoping for a nice hit. But Clippers money line is going to be one of the first one I take. First ones. I like it. Minus 117. That's going to give us very good value here. Let's talk about the Clippers really quick. I guess I'm going to go reverse order since I already said the Clippers for whatever reason I did that. But anyways, Golden State plus 117 underdogs at home. 1.5 spread, 217.5 total. Majority of the money's going to be on the Clippers, which I hate seeing all the public on the Clippers. But there's a good reason for it, man. This Warriors team just isn't that good, man. They're not. It's not that they're a bad team. They just have everybody out. This team is missing Jimmy Butler. Crier's questionable. Steph and Seth Curry are both out. Gary Payton's questionable. Kristaps Porzingis is out. Will Richard is out. Clippers, we've already talked about. John Collins, Dunn, and Bradley Beal are the only ones we need to worry about here. When you look at the Warriors, since coming back from the break, they have won 2 of their 5 games, so they're 2-3. Clippers are what? They have won 2 of their 5 as well, so they're 2-3. They lost to Minnesota, the Magic, and the Lakers, but they did come off a win versus the Pelicans last night. The Warriors played 2 days ago versus the Lakers and got blown out, so their team's going to be a little bit more fresh than the Clippers for sure. I just think the Clippers Kawhi can carry this team versus Golden State, in my opinion. Head-to-head, Clippers versus Golden State. We're going to click the Clippers here. That way it shows green. So the Clippers this season have won 1 of their 2 games versus Golden State. One was a 1-point win. The other was a blowout loss. But they've been dealing with a lot of injuries as well beforehand. So before the Harden trade as well. So give me the Clippers. I think they win this game. That game is competitive, though, if you like Golden State. Take your chances on it, but I will be running with our boy Kawhi tonight. The next game on slate we're going to talk about is going to be the Wizards versus Houston. So Wizards are plus 830 at home. Obviously unplayable unless you're playing Wizards side of this. You can't play Houston for minus 809, a 15.5 spread, a 223.5 total. Most of the money on Rockets money line. About a 50-50 split on the 15.5 spread, which I'm not going to say I dislike it. They kept it close versus Toronto. So Toronto, they got beat by 9 points. That one was at home as well. The Rockets are coming off of a loss versus Miami. Miami beat them by 10 points, and that one was in Miami. So they traveled to Miami, they traveled to Orlando, and now they're traveling to Washington. So a lot of road games here for this Rockets team. I think the Rockets win, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Wizards could cover the spread. When you look at this team, they're missing Steven Adams, missing Jabari Smith. Jayshawn Tate is still out, and Fred VanVleet is out as well. On the Washington side of things, Keyshawn George questionable this game. Anthony Gill is questionable, and Vukcevic is questionable as well, but they're missing pretty much everybody else. This team's missing literally half their roster, so hard to really bet on a team tanking like this from the Wizards. 15.5-point spread. I don't dislike this line. If I was going to play it, I'd probably have to buy some more points, especially if I was going to do it on this boost. The total at 223.5. We can look at that as well. Head-to-head, they've been over 2 of the last 3 games they played. 247, and 199 in their last game. So the only game they had this season, it was almost a 250-point total. Not going to say I love the line going over because Houston's only been over this line 44% on the season so far, and then Washington's been over 73%. But 223.5 total is not really that high of a score, and we've been smashing these totals. Every total we've ran so far is cashed in terms of these no-vig boosts. So we might look at this total here. It is 224 right now on no-vig. It's 223 on the other one. But if you throw one of these in, then you're looking at plus 240 right there, and we could lock in probably Boston money line and have 300. Yeah, we could do anything like that. So we can look at all these totals. Totals are probably going to be the move on this one unless you play a spread. But totals here is probably what I'm going to go with. So Clippers money line plus a potential total for a no-vig boost. Second game on the slate is Celtics versus Bucks. This one's going to be in Milwaukee. Milwaukee plus 300 underdogs. 7.5 spread, 215.5 total. A very low-scoring game. 65% of the money going to be on Celtics with 70% on them covering 8-point spread. Both these teams are in a back-to-back when you look at the Bucks. They're coming off of a loss versus Chicago. So the Bulls beat them by 23 points. Blowout loss in Chicago. Travel back home. Now they're playing against the Celtics. The Celtics coming off of a win at home versus Philly. Beat Philly last night by 16. So, pretty strong win. Since coming back from the break, they only have 1 loss, and that loss was versus the Nuggets in Denver. So a strong loss there. The Nuggets are not a bad team, even though they're missing a lot of players. Boston only missing Tatum. Milwaukee, we've already looked at this. Both the Giannis brothers are going to be questionable, and then Taurean Prince is going to be out in this game. So if Giannis plays, this game could be pretty competitive. Now, let's take a look at the spread here. The spread, not the spread here, but the total here. Total head-to-head, they've been over 80% of games when they played each other. So Milwaukee has played, or these teams have played each other twice this season. 186 total and a 217 total. So the last game they played was very low scoring. It was 79-107. Milwaukee shot horrible. 80-point game. This team doesn't put up 80 points very often. When you look at how many points this team usually scores, you can see he had 97 last night versus the Bulls, 98. So getting less than 100 seems to happen decently consistent, I'm not going to lie, but there's a lot of other games where they're putting up 130, 140 points. So as long as their shot isn't completely off this game, I expect this total to go over as well, and 215 is a very low total. So either of these totals I like. If we buy them down slightly, we could probably get some pretty good value here. But we'll take a look at that here on NoVig in a minute and see what we can actually get in terms of odds. I do think Celtics win this game. I do think the Bucks keep it competitive, so I don't dislike the 7.5 point spread, but I don't love it either. I'd rather take the total over the spread on this personally. Last game on the slate we have is going to be Nuggets Jazz, 500 minus 500 favorites for the Nuggets playing in Utah. Utah obviously plus 525 underdogs, 11.5 spread. Very high scoring total at 244.5. Majority of the money going to be on the Nuggets side of things. Nuggets played last night, lost to Minnesota in a very close game. That one was at home. Now they're on the road versus the Jazz. Jazz coming off of a loss versus the Pelicans 2 days ago. The Jazz have been tanking. They've lost every game since the break has started back, and I don't expect them to get a win here tonight versus the Nuggets, if we're being honest. Now, Aaron Gordon's doubtful, Cam Johnson questionable, Spencer Jones questionable as well, and then Peyton Watson out with Bates out. Jazz missing. We've already talked about all these players that are out for the Jazz. So pretty much missing a ton of players. This isn't a game I really look for in terms of taking like a sports book bet. I do like player props in this game, but everything else I'm just going to fade. That total's too high for me to want to run the over. It's too high for me to want to take the under because both these teams are pretty fast paced. So I'm kind of iffy on the total. Don't want to touch that. I don't like the spread here. I can see the spread going either way, and then I think the Nuggets win, but I mean they're minus 500, so you can't touch them either. So this game's pretty much going to be an X unless it's player props. So let's take a look at these totals. What can we get for the Celtics and the Wizards game? One of these games I'm going to be taking for the total. So if we were to take the totals here, we can buy this down to 221.5 at minus 140, puts us at plus 189. If we were to play that with the Celtics, would that give us? Puts us at plus 270. So no, we cannot do that. That total is not going to work. So I think Celtics money line is what we're going to run. We're going to run the money line with Clippers and then run one of these totals. I think is going to be the move. So can we run a game stack here maybe? Can you run the total with money line as well? So can we get the total at like plus 212.5? Puts us at plus 283. So we need a little bit better. 213.5 is going to be the number, I think. 297? It's a little fishy how they do that. It's only one more point. 215 total. We can play that, and that puts us at plus 408 if we run it. So that would be Celtics money line, the game total for over 215, and then Clippers money line. I don't dislike that slip, man. I don't dislike. Let's take a look at the total one more time before we go ahead and lock this in. We got it at 214.5, so actually better line than this. These teams head-to-head have played. They have been over 80% of games. The last game is the only time they have been under this. Giannis is potentially going to play, which obviously is going to increase the, in my opinion, the pace of the game because Giannis can score on anybody, so he's due for some buckets. And then if you look at Boston, they've been over 65% of the times. Milwaukee's been over 76% of the times. So both these teams, pretty fast pace in terms of scoring more than a 214.5 total. It's only 107.5 points apiece. I expect this game to be like that. One team could put up 130 points and easily we cash this. So I'm going to run with it. I'm going to run with it. Now, they are on back-to-back, so it does get a little bit iffy on that on tired legs. Maybe this pace is going to be a little bit slower, which is probably why this total is actually as low as it is. But I'm going to take a chance on them, man. It's a $25 bet. Now, I want to go ahead and give a disclaimer here. These boosts are a $25 max. I play $250 units. So this is 1/10 of a unit for me. So for the ones of you guys watching, if I lose 10 in a row, then I'm only losing 1 unit. If your unit size is like $10, I'm not telling you to max these out. Don't do that. Play like a quarter unit, a half a unit, or something like that. Okay? So if you play $10 slips, don't just max these out because these are long shot parlays. They're plus 400 for a reason. You got to hit 1 of every 5 to pretty much be profitable, 1 of every 4 or whatever to break even or be profitable, slightly profitable. So I'm just taking it with a grain of salt. Like, I am not going to be fretting if these lose. If this misses, it's not going to hurt my bankroll. You see what I'm saying? So I think these cash, I'm playing plays that I like, and I may end up straight betting every single one of these totals from now on because a 214.5 total I like. So you might see straight bets from that. I'm going to start running more totals than usual. A lot of times I just play money lines and stuff, but I like these totals a lot lately. So might be straight betting totals. 214.5 I like Celtics money line, like Clippers money line. I'm going to straight bet Clippers as well. So I'm going to have more units on these teams. It's just when you put them all together in a parlay like this, your odds go significantly down to cash. Like, for example, we can hit 2 out of 3 every single day, but you miss 1, you lose all your money. Whereas if you straight bet each one of those legs, 2 out of 3, then you would have profited big time if you hit 2 or 3, unless there's like minus 500 and then a plus 200 on the one you miss. See what I'm saying? Anyways, I digress. $25 what we're going to lock in here. Retry geolocation, pay. Here we go. We got that locked in. So we have Clippers money line, Boston money line, over 250 or pretty much 215 points in this game. So I like it. Lock it in if you like it. If you don't, just fade it. That's what I got for today, guys. So quick look at our picks one more time for our player props. Kevin Porter, Kyle Filipowski on one, Kada, Will Leonard on the other. And once again, if you don't like them, just fade them. So I'm going to go ahead and pick a winner from yesterday's video to win a free month of VIP. That being said, if you want a chance at free VIP, run the likes up on this video. This video has to get 250 likes for me to pick a winner. Drop a comment down in the description. It'll randomly pick a comment, and let's pick our winner from yesterday. So the winner from yesterday's video is going to be for our man Zosham, who said, let's go. So Zosham, however you say your name, man, send me a message on Discord. I will get you added for that free month of VIP. I do appreciate the love and support from every single one of you guys, and I'll see y'all in tomorrow's video.